everyone starts watching UFC and it feels like you're indoctrinated with these casual takes that you don't even know where they came from, but you just believe them anyways. So today, Dylan and we're going to be talking about some of our casual takes that we used to believe. And looking back on this, I mean, I wanted to cancel this video. It was bad.
Yeah, like I was going back through my old predictions, my old opinions, my old hot takes, and I was like, did I really think this was going to happen at one point? I mean, not all these are as bad, but still, like,
yeah,
a lot of them just aged really poorly.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And I had these, Lucas knows that, and I bet you guys know that I had these awesome storylines built up in my head that I thought were going to happen that never quite came to fruition.
The Demetrius Johnson coming back, Islam Makhachev versus Khabib. There's a lot of them. I won't spoil any more, though. All right, I'll start us off, though. Something simple. Something that I feel like I used to say as a casual fan that I thought made me seem like more of a hardcore. I used to think that you have to beat the champion decisively to win the belt.
I also thought that.
Yeah.
I didn't put that on my list, but like, I was like, oh, you have to like beat him. Because I think I brought up this narrative after Dricus versus Strickland, you know, because it wasn't like a decisive win for Dricus. So it's like, oh, it just goes to Strickland, you know?
Yeah.
But no, that's not how it works.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. This is one of those takes where it's like every UFC fan who thinks they know something says this. Oh, you got to beat the champion decisively. And I see even like... I
see the narrative in it. Like,
yeah.
It's not like I disagree with that. You know, like I feel like barely edging it out against the champion. Mm-hmm. Like you would want to decisively beat them, but not every championship win is going to be Strickland versus Adesanya.
Exactly. And I feel like the judging is judged like you don't judge a championship fight differently. It's just more rounds, right? Yeah. It's still the exact same criteria for judging a fight. So it shouldn't change just because one fighter has more status than the other. I think that's completely ridiculous. So that's one that I want to know if you guys still agree with, because I see still tons of like MMA personalities saying this. And
he's the champion. He should have won.
Yeah, and I just think it's completely ridiculous because scoring is scoring.
Well, yeah, and it's like when you look at a fight, like they want the name value they want that to be put into the judging, when why would anyone want that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like if it's a sport, just judge it how it's supposed to be.
All right, my first one is one that's very legendary. On the day of UFC Saudi Arabia, I felt a little edgy that morning, so I decided to switch up my prediction, and instead of Robert Whittaker beating Ikram Aliskerov, I decided to hop on the Ikram bandwagon. I thought that Ikram was going to go out there and beat Robert Whittaker. Whew! Was I ever wrong?
That was rough.
Like, I think I needed to like, I don't know. I was like, I'm going to be different, you know?
Yeah.
That was not the fight to be different on, was Ikram Aliskerov versus Robert Whittaker.
No.
And you know what? And then I started gassing him up. I was like, you know what? Like, Dagestan.
He's got the wrestling,
That's all he needs. And then he doesn't even wrestle, really. He's literally a striker.
People forget, man. He's only lost to Chimaev. Yeah, that was everyone talking about it. But why did you change? Didn't you need like a prediction to win? Like
something like that, and you were like, I was like, please, like, let me switch this up so it's like we have some difference.
Yeah.
And then you were like, okay, like you had no issues with it because I was thinking like Ikram realistically is what at that point was maybe like the 30th ranked middleweight up against Robert Whittaker, top 5, hadn't even been just brutally murdered by Khamzat Chimaev.
So what's your take that you need to, or like your casual take on that?
That I thought that Ikram actually had a chance to beat Robert Whittaker was my take there.
That's fair.
You know, and yeah.
Because I had a similar one where, like, it's hard to explain. You know, that just the Dagestani aura. Yeah. You know, you get indoctrinated into the UFC thinking every Dagestani fighter is Khabib 2.0.
Basically.
And it's just not true.
No.
You know, so that was on my list. We'll just cover it off there, though. Okay, next one. Another one where if you even knew about MMA like 5-10 years ago, this is just something that you're indoctrinated with. Aldo is the featherweight GOAT. If you're someone who knows barely anything about the sport, for some reason you know Aldo and you know he's the featherweight GOAT, which is just not true. Like Volk and Holloway, I'd say, are both, and Taporia now. They're all better than him, bro.
All those 4.
I don't want to hear about Aldo anymore. Okay, I don't want to hear about these casual fans who watch one pay-per-view a year saying, "Oh, People forget, man. Aldo's the GOAT. He beat Frankie Edgar, man.
Here's the thing. Aldo's closer to 5 than he is 1.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot better of a case for him to be behind Conor McGregor than there is a better case for him to be ahead of Volk.
He's literally like the bottom 75% of champions because there's only been like 6 featherweight champions or something.
Yeah,
right.
He is the 80th percentile.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I just can't stand the Aldo's the GOAT.
Yeah, immediately when you come in, because that's just what everyone says.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're like, it doesn't make any sense why he would be the GOAT.
No, it doesn't. And I still see it getting posted on Twitter every once in a while. Like,
it's because of that bantamweight career. All right. Oh, this one's a bad one. I think that this was for a hot take video, so I needed to be a little bit hot with it. But Carlos Prates is the only fighting nerd with championship potential.
I mean, who knows? You know,
But I personally don't agree with that. I think that Gene Silva has higher potential than him.
I would agree.
You know, and I think especially after what we just saw this past weekend, you know, it's more prevalent than ever that Gene Silva is actually,
even though Gene Silva is like technically the furthest away from the rankings,
but he's legitness.
Dude, that's what we said about Peyton Talbot. Is that another one of your bad takes? We might get to
Peyton
that.
Talbot will be in this video at some point.
That's awesome.
But no, I have a lot more faith in Gene Silva, especially in now a featherweight division that is so wide open for the next 1 or 2 years. Like, I don't see any reason why he's not going to have any setbacks. Or wait, I don't think that made sense. But I don't see I don't see a world where he doesn't have, you know, a relatively easy path up to, you know, at least championship contender status. And then from there, you know, and he is his aura, his personality, like he does not give a rat's butt.
Yeah. I want give him Mobstar. All right. Let him beat up Mobstar for a little bit.
Honestly, I'd take it. But I think he is totally the perfect fight for Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Like, he is the perfect fight.
It's a good build up, you know.
You could you just put that as the featured fight, or you just put that on a pay-per-view so they actually get to do a press conference.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, don't put that on a fight night. Put it on a pay-per-view so the main card so they can do a press conference.
When we start getting Gene Silva press conferences, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
He's already a GOAT in the interviews. All right, my next one. I don't know if you felt this way too, but for some reason, this is something that I just grew up thinking. Dustin Poirier was the bad guy in the Conor rivalry. I feel like because Conor McGregor was the bigger star, like by far, and he's had as a casual UFC fan, you only see the clips, right? So you've seen all these Conor McGregor clips, and then, you know, as you start to get more into the sport, you're like, oh, he's fighting Dustin Poirier. So you're rooting for Conor. But Dustin was always the hero in that story.
I'm different to where I used to think that Khabib was the good guy and Conor was the bad guy, but in reality, Conor was technically the good guy up against Khabib and being the bad guy. But Khabib being the bad guy feels so wrong.
Yeah.
But he's more just like an anti-hero. Mm-hmm. You know, he just like, I don't give an F.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm gonna just do Khabib and tap you out.
Yeah, but now the lore of Dustin Poirier, he might be a sore winner, but he's still such
he could never be a villain.
No, he could never be a villain. He's such a good guy. So
he's the people's champ.
I don't know. Let me know who you guys thought was the bad guy in the Conor McGregor rivalry, because I always thought it was Conor McGregor, or I thought it was Dustin Poirier, and then I was like, it was Conor this whole time. He was the sore loser. He was the guy who was being a dick. Your wife sent me DMs.
All right. My next take, this might be one of my worst ones. Diego Lopez is overhyped and is going to get submitted by Brian Ortega at UFC Noche.
Dude, I stand by that. Prime Brian Ortega. Prime Brian Ortega could have won. I'm telling you right now, he could have won that fight.
I don't know, but I don't know why I was on Brian Ortega in 306, because when they were supposed to fight at 303, I was totally on the Lopez bandwagon. Mm-hmm. And then just over the next 2 months, I was like, nah, he's gonna lose to Ortega. You know, I got that mind. You know, veteran always wins. This up and coming kid ain't got nothing. No, just dog walked Brian Ortega.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad take. Call me a casual. Maybe I still believe in it.
It just aged poorly.
Yeah, it aged poorly, but I still think Prime Brian Ortega would have given him a lot more issues, but maybe not. You know,
it wasn't Prime Brian Ortega.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not even that old though. He's 33 or something, so he should still be in his prime.
But he ain't.
Volk's still in his prime. That's what I'll say. 36-year-old Volk getting the belt back. All right. Oh, this is a good one. Undefeated prospects are better than prospects with 1 to 4 losses.
I like that.
There is no different. Like, if you have 10 to 15 fights and you have 0 losses compared to 3 losses, I wouldn't say there's a big difference if you're an up-and-coming prospect.
If you're 10-3, I think it may be a little bit different.
But, like, think about, like, Holloway lost his first 3 fights in the UFC.
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira. Like, there's so many. I feel like all the prospects who actually make it somewhere, they're usually not the, like, undefeated.
Yeah. You also have to go back and actually look at their wins, you know, because we'll have these prospects who had, like, I think I was looking at Song Yudong from this past weekend. He had like a bunch of like early wins. Like he already has like 7 losses and he's 27 or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like those don't actually matter. Like those are like not canon.
Yeah.
You know? And then you look at his like UFC and it's a lot better. But like you go and look at these prospects and we're immediately like, oh yeah, the undefeated ones, they're by far the best, you know, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, it's like the ones with a couple of losses, like, you know, if you lost fight in the UFC, it means that you weren't just getting handpicked, you know, led all the way up to the rankings. You know, you actually had to fight, work, improve inside of the ring. Peyton Talbot never had to adjust his game because he just fought the same thing every time. Second he goes up against a grappler, he looks lost. Looks like he's never fought before.
Well, and that's like, you look at Tom Aspinall, he has 3 losses as well.
Yeah.
2 on the regional scene and then 1 against Curtis Blades. So if you look at that record, it's like, okay, he has 3 losses. He might not be that good. But then actually it's like you look at his losses and it's like those probably helped him to be the fighter he is today. And now he's KOing he's KOing the best best heavyweights. There's not that many of them, but he's KOing the best heavyweights in 1 minute or less or 2 minutes or less. So I don't think losses, like, as a casual fan, it's like you see an undefeated record, you're like, oh, this guy's legit. Dude, Rinya Nakamura, that means nothing, bro.
Yeah.
That means nothing. I'm trying to think of more examples, but, like, if you just go back and you look at the guys who became champion, even Islam, he had that loss. And I'm sure a lot of people, I wasn't a UFC fan back then, or at least a hardcore UFC fan, but I'm sure lots of people were saying, oh, this guy's finished. I think it was his first fight in the UFC, too.
It was his first fight.
Like, that's crazy.
Or Arman losing that early fight to Islam Makhachev.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Exactly. It's like you have to actually look at who their losses are, too. And, yeah, I like what you said about, like, the guys who don't get cherry-picked fights, they always get better.
Yeah. And it's also at the same time, it's like, it's something that I'll always say, not every fighter is Khabib. You know, we can't expect every single fighter to retire undefeated.
Yeah, well, like, dude, if you think about the fighters that Sharmagomedov probably fought to get his undefeated record, they're probably trash.
Yeah. His best win is Arman Petrosyan.
Yeah, to get ranked. Gets ranked.
Arman Petrosyan is fighting on the early prelims of a fight night coming up, you know? Like,
that's the levels we're talking about.
Yeah. My next one, I just kind of wrote down Wang Kong. I don't really know what I believed in Wang Kong. I think I got my takes around her was that she was going to be the women's MMA GOAT by the end of her career.
The women's Pereira.
Yeah, and I don't, you know, I just see a lot more holes in her game now. You know, when she got that super highlight KO, I was like, oh, awesome. You know, but now I'm starting to see those holes over the last couple of fights. And this kind of contradicts what I just said about, you know, they get that loss. But
yeah,
she's someone who I could never see her beating a Zhang Weili. You know, and in women's MMA, you kind of get fast-tracked. You know, you're one of those top prospects, Tatiana Suarez, Kayla Harrison. You guys are kind of getting fast-tracked to the top. So Wang Kong could be fighting within the rankings in her next fight, you know? And at this point, there's just so many well-rounded women's fighters inside of that strawweight division that...
She's flyweight. She's in the Shevchenko division.
Is she?
Yeah.
I could have swore she was...
No, because she has the rivalry with Shevchenko.
Oh, then how are we going to get the Zhang... Oh, wait.
Well, Zhang Weili's moving up.
We were never going to get the Zhang Weili fight. I was just making...
Zhang Weili still beats her.
Oh, 100%. Yan Jianan still beats her.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. The strawweights still clear her.
Yeah. She's an exciting fighter. You know, she's a good striker. She's a good striker.
Yeah.
That's about it. She's a good personality. I think I loved the fact that there was actually someone showing personality in women's MMA. So I was like, I was all in on it. She's still one of my favorite fighters, you know? Mm-hmm. I'm always going to back her in every single fight, except for if she fights Zhang Weili.
Or a grappler. But there's not really that many competent grapplers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, that's fair. This one is one, I feel like lots of MMA fans, I know this was the case for me, but you start off watching like boxing highlights and like boxing fights, you know, the golden era of heavyweight boxing. You got George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Sonny Liston, like all those guys. And then you eventually move over to MMA. And for me, when I moved over to MMA, I just assumed that heavyweight was the peak of MMA because it was the best boxing. Like you get the most finishes. It's for somehow the heavyweights still have 15 round cardio. And then you move over to MMA and it's like, oh my goodness, this is ass. And I know that like heavyweight MMA is probably like worse than it was 7 years ago or like even 5 years ago. But still, I don't think heavyweight MMA has ever been close to lightweight MMA.
No.
Ever. But boxing, heavyweight still clears.
Yeah, you look at featherweight too, and it's like the 5 champions we've had inside of featherweight.
Mm-hmm. The lightweight champions, Oliveira, Makhachev, Khabib, Conor, RDA, like it's just stacked.
You look at heavyweight GOAT, Stipe. Stipe is the heavyweight GOAT because there's no one else to be the heavyweight GOAT.
True.
You know, he is there for that reason.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's just me. I just got indoctrinated into the sport thinking heavyweight was good. And then you actually do some research and it's like, oh, Shamil Ghaziev's ranked and he just died of heart failure.
Speaking of heavyweights, let me give everyone a prediction. I'm going back to another prediction.
I know what you're even going to say.
Just because this was I saw this and I went, oof, I forgot I did this. This was definitely for the culture. Chris Barnett KOs Kennedy and Chukwuku.
Oh, okay. I did not think you were going there. I thought you were going Tom Aspinall versus John Jones route.
No, I still believe
Tom wins.
Jones wins.
Get out of my house. Honestly, get out of my house right now.
We gotta differ on that one.
We should make another video about that soon. We haven't done a video on that in a while. Talking about John Jones, Tom Aspinall.
Is this actually gonna happen? I was feeling a little bit probably silly that morning when I was coming up with my predictions for that night because no way. Oh wait, no, that was on a morning. Was that UFC 308 that they fought?
Yeah,
I think it was the opening bout of 308.
It was something. It was early prelim.
So 7 a.m.
Yeah,
and I was like,
you probably were sleeping. You were probably asleep for that. I think you were actually.
I was awake for that fight.
I don't think so. You saw one spinning wheel kick highlight from Chris Barnett and you thought this guy's the GOAT.
But I was just like, Chris Barnett getting ready for the fight hurts himself. Jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Hurts himself up against Kennedy and Chukwuku. Did you see who got ranked in heavyweight?
Yeah, Talson Teixeira. The GOAT, bro. Like, man, I told you, Justin Tafa's a better win than anything Waldo Cortez Acosta has done. And Don'Tale Mayes, like, oh my goodness. Also, how did UFC Seattle get the fight of the night for Alonzo Menafield versus the nobody Julius Walker?
That was the worst fight on the card. It was the worst fight.
How are you rewarding that garbage?
Like if they wanted a fight that went to the decision, Rob Font versus whatever his name was, that
Jean
Brazilian
Matsumoto?
kid. Yeah.
Yeah. That was great. That was a great
much
fight.
better.
Yeah.
That fight was terrible.
I don't know what they were watching. Like, I don't know. Like, how?
That was the worst fight on the card.
If you were watching the card, that not to give that fight anything.
It was terrible.
One of the first fight that didn't go to
it wasn't a terrible fight, but compared to everything else, it was the worst fight on the card.
I mean, when we were watching it, it was hilarious. Like we were making fun of it because it was so bad. It was good.
Yeah, the quality of fight was terrible.
Yeah, but that made it funny. Not worthy of a bonus.
No.
Okay, next up. Oh, this is legit. I actually used to think jiu-jitsu was the best base for MMA. I don't know why, bro. Like, tell me that's not a fact that you see a Joe Rogan clip and you think, oh, like he talks about jiu-jitsu as if it's like this godsend for MMA.
That's like when I made my first, a couple of years ago when I made my first UFC guy in UFC 4, UFC 5, I don't remember which one it was. I was like, BJJ base. I'm gonna be a dog.
Yeah.
No, now I'm just a kickboxer every time.
I don't even know how I thought jiu-jitsu was the best.
Maybe you saw me doing jiu-jitsu as a kid and was like, that's what it takes.
Dangerous. Let me go now.
It's actually open palm. I got another take that was, I guess I was real Glazin Pereira at this point.
I still do.
Alex Pereira beats Khalil Roundtree in less than 5 strikes.
I remember. I actually bar for bar remember you saying that.
It was my Hail Mary for UFC 307 predictions.
Yeah, and look where it got you. He put up the best fight of any light heavyweight.
I think Roundtree back landed the first 5 strikes in that.
I think you might be right.
Guy lost the first. I mean, you can't discredit Pereira for that, but like, still, it was like, oof.
Yeah, you know what? We've gone through a lot of rough times in our MMA journey as YouTubers, but one of the things that makes me happy is seeing all of the fighters that Kenny Okoye likes getting KO'd every fight. It just brings joy to my soul because he actually has the worst takes. His takes are so bad.
Yeah,
I don't know what makes you like these fighters. I get he's got to rock with the Nigerian brothers. I respect that, but the dude just has awful takes. Adesanya is still the best striker in the UFC. That's insane, bro. How do you say that? How can you say that? He got outstruck by Sean Strickland for 5 rounds. That's just not true, bro. Stop.
Imavov punched him in the face.
Imavov hit him in the face and he cried. Okay, this one's good. And I know you agreed with this one. Khabib is a top 3 MMA fighter of all time. Everyone believed that when you get indoctrinated into the UFC.
That's not crazy because there's an argument that he's 4.
But he's not 3.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not touching the top 3. He's not touching John Jones, Mighty Mouse, or GSP. And even Volk. I would say he's not touching Volk either.
I have him above Volk still.
No, call me crazy or
something. But you are also a Volk glazer and I'm a Khabib glazer, so that's why.
Dagestani rat. That's what you are.
Hey.
I just feel like everyone believes this because you see it 29 wins and no. People forget, man. He didn't lose a fight.
29-0.
Yeah.
29-0.
You see that record and you think, he beat Conor McGregor, bro? He beat Conor McGregor.
All right. Speaking of Conor McGregor, my last just terrible opinion was that Conor McGregor was the UFC GOAT. like as a kid, you don't really know a whole bunch about UFC. So you see Conor, you're like, oh yeah, like he's the best fighter of all time. Probably never lost.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he lost.
And then you learn about Nate Diaz and you're like, come on, this isn't real. It must have been an off night. Oh, okay, he got the loss back. The loss back. And then you learn about he lost to Khabib. No.
Dustin Poirier?
Yeah, that was a bit later, but yeah. Conor McGregor, he did used to be the GOAT. You see the highlight KO, 15 seconds, 7 seconds, or 13 seconds against Aldo. No one doing it like him.
Until he wasn't doing him like that.
Now he's the Coke GOAT.
All right, let's hear your last one.
My last one, call me crazy. Height and reach don't matter, bro. They don't matter.
Honestly?
Like, they matter in boxing because boxing is a sport of hit and don't get hit, Like, that matters. All right, fair enough. But if you're in featherweight, I mean,
it's all about how you use it.
Exactly. Who cares if you're 5'11 or 5'6"? If you have wrestling, you're chilling.
Yeah, like fighters like Holloway and like O'Malley are long for their division. And they actually know how to use it. But at the same time, it's like you put that guy against a wrestler and it's a complete disadvantage.
Exactly. Like, okay, if height and length mattered.
Wait, sorry. Length. I've been told length does not matter anymore either.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good news for me.
It's a new rumor.
That is good news for me. No, if height and reach mattered, Sean Woodson would be the featherweight GOAT by now. The 6'3" featherweight GOAT, right? But you put Ilya Topuria against Sean Woodson, he's getting KO'd in 2 minutes. So that's something I strongly believe in.
If you don't know how to use it, like, because the thing is, like, the second you're long, and then you got a boxer in the pocket and you're dead, or you have a jiu-jitsu guy just put you in guard and you're dead. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us today. Go down to the comments. Let us know which of our takes were the worst of them all. What were we the most casual for believing?
They should drop their casual takes in the comments so we can react to them.
Also do that.
Yeah.
Drop those in there too. While you're down there, making sure you guys are liking and subscribing. We appreciate all the love and support. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.